Right, hello everyone and welcome to week 1. I was going to say week 2 then, but it's the same video. This is week 1. The challenge for this week was to do 2 looks, a baby's first time in drag look and a house mother look. This recording is only the house mother look. I do have the footage for the baby look, but it took me all of about 30 minutes. I didn't think it was particularly interesting to talk about or talk over, so we're not. This is my house mother look. It took me, I think, a total of probably about 5 hours over 3 days, because I struggled to work on one thing for too long. I designed it after my baby look, so I knew what I wanted to include in the look. I knew I wanted it to be a big gown. I knew I wanted to have floral elements because the baby look is a kind of bad basic poison ivy cosplay, so I wanted to include those natural elements into the look. The sketch process for this was a lot simpler. It's not recorded because I did it on my iPad in clip, which I haven't figured out how to record yet, and then I save my file and import it onto my laptop to do all of this detail work. So I started out researching pretty heavily. I initially was looking at more contemporary gowns with, you know, lots of flowers, dresses that are just like flowers from the bottom down, and that kind of stuff, but whilst I was in the Pinterest rabbit hole, I ended up in some of my favourite stuff, which is like old classical paintings, and obviously a lot of those feature lots of really big gowns, which do have a lot of floral additions, a lot of lace, a lot of everything, and I love drawing big dresses, so it worked out quite well for me. I mean, obviously I make references, so it should work out well for me. So you can see the dress here is 3 tiers. You've got the tight corset top with the puffy sleeves and the lace accents, and then you've got the 3 tiers of puff. You've got 2 puffs and the bottom ruffles. The accents for the dress was mostly pearls. I didn't really want to do a lot of accessories because the dress itself is big, so it was a matter of balancing the details on the dress with the details that you can find on the body of the dress, because with Winnie's Vitiligo I do try and keep things a bit simpler in terms of like makeup and jewellery, just because it can get quite busy quite fast. So the hair is up to keep it out of the way of the dress. The colouring for it was the line art, it's all separated out. So you'll see me throughout the video like flipping layers on and off, and that's because each tier of the dress is like its own section. So her like head hair body area is one layer with the sleeves on another. See, and then you've got the top part of the dress as one, middle part of the dress is another, and the bottom of the dress as another section, and it's all broken down in amongst that. So you've got the flowers on their own layers. So you can see I've hidden the flowers here to paint that middle tier. I don't know, a weird experience painting it. I knew what I wanted it to look like, but I definitely had a bit of a struggle getting to a point that I was like really happy with. The bottom tier really happy with, but the middle 2 tiers, there's definitely things I would do differently. My concern with these kind of looks is that I want to put the effort in, but I don't want to spend like lots and lots of time on them, because in the end, like, I'm competitive and obviously I like to win, but I ain't being paid to do this. So I do have to balance it with paid work and spending time on this kind of stuff. So I don't want to say like I shortcut things, because I definitely spent a lot of time on this, but it's definitely about learning how to work smarter and getting the looks done and not like making my life too hard. I mean, there are things I did in this that like didn't necessarily need to do. Like the details, obviously I enjoyed doing, but like a lot of them you can't see from a distance anyways. So there's a lot of details on the sleeves that you can't see. Like, you can tell they're there, but you can't see them. A lot of the gems and stuff you can't see. And when we get a bit further into the video, I kind of like faux embroider all the flowers on the tiers, because I wanted it to look like embroidery, which unfortunately when you're zoomed out you can't actually even see the effect, so which is a shame because it does look really cool close up, but that's like an example of me probably not working smart. What I'm doing here is I got some feedback on the look as it was at, and people felt like it needed like more to balance down, like so the flowers are getting bigger, but then you've just got the thin bit at the bottom. So I go over and make the whole of the bottom of the dress pink. This is kind of an example of me working a bit smarter and not stupid. Is I do the line art for the flowers, and then I just stroke and expand that stroke, and fiddle with that a bit to get the look that I want without having to go through and colour each flower and pattern separately, which definitely saved a lot of time and looked fine. If you consider that I was trying to approach this look with the idea that like everything is sewn on or embroidered on, because obviously a lot of the looks I was looking at, it is like that. It definitely took me more time than I would have liked to draw all the flowers on the bottom, but I do enjoy drawing flowers and like that kind of pattern, so it wasn't awful. I tried to take into account the shapes and the like shading that was already there, which is why I didn't really want to like completely paint over it, because I liked how the ruffles already looked. But yeah, it's definitely something I'm really proud of, but I think it achieved what I wanted for it, which was showing off, which sounds terrible, but so yeah, you can see me here that I like expanded it, had a bit of a play with the colours and the depths. I put a multiply layer over it, and I think a soft light layer as well, and then I made a copy of the ruffles lines to put over the top so that they matched in and it looked a little bit more solid in. I'm going through here and doing a bit of rendering, so I'm adding a bit of detail to the pearls. Not a lot, because again, like when you zoom out you can't see it, like it looks fine. Doing in the fan, which for some reason I just never bothered colouring initially, don't know why, it just didn't. But yeah, you can see here I'm filling in just some extra bits, and to be honest I didn't do too much rendering on this because already the lines weren't particularly visible, and it's already so detailed that I wanted to keep what line art was there so that you could still get that sense of shape. But you can see here the embroidery stuff that I was starting to talk about. I started by doing the gold, which is the vines and the leaves, which is much more prominent in the bottom tier than it is in the top tier. And then after that I do move on to doing the flowers. I had a big fuss on how I wanted it to look. Like I swapped between so many different layer styles and so many different looks. I think in the end it ends up on, I want to say, hard light. And what I did was copy the colours for the flowers and clip it to the top of the line so that they had a similar matching colour pattern, but there was still enough contrast to be able to see it all. The lines are all stroked so they have a darker outline, which I think it looks fun. You can see that I'm still fussing, but it is something that I spent a lot of time zooming in and out of, because you can see it at this level but you can't when you zoom out, and it is something that's supposed to be subtle but it is also something that I spent time on that I potentially just didn't need to. But here I'm faffing with the colour layers, adding my adjustments, adding my noise, adding some canvassy texture just to make it all mesh together, and zooming in some details so that y'all can see it. But I didn't win this week, if any of you don't know, but it's fine. Like, the criticism I got was valid. And the person who did win, you know, did a much better look than me. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, the final look is definitely something I'm proud of. And there are definitely things I would change. So like when I look at it here, I wish the dress at the bottom had more of a 3D shape, like the front ruffles curved so that it felt more 3D, because it feels very, I don't know, flat on the bottom to me. Like I would have just made it more of a curve and made it more 3D, and I potentially could have achieved this by doing something similar to what I did with the promo look, by adding like multiple layers and soft light layers, but I think it's something that was inherently wrong with how I drew it and how I painted it. And I would probably, I don't know if I would add anything to it, but yeah, I definitely work on making it look less like a kind of like a paper doll dress that I'd stuck on a form, and more like a dress that she's really wearing. But yeah, that's this week's look. Stay tuned for next week, which will be a comic, which I might record, I might not record. I have not decided yet, because it depends how much. I will probably record it and then see how much I fuss and dither over it, and then we'll see on that. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week.